the kitchen sink at them, pile the attacking players onto the pitch. In the end, do you have the sense that you got maybe even the least you deserved?
Well, I'm very proud of the team, I must say. The way we played dominated them, and I'm very disappointed with the results.
What did you make of the first half?
Well, we started incredibly well, so dominant again. We were playing in their half, and we didn't allow them to breathe. But in one action, that is very chaotic because the ball bounces, it's a duel there, we lose it, and suddenly they find themselves 3v2 in open spaces, and they are lethal there, and they finish the action with the quality that they have. After that, we had 5 shaky minutes that we have to reset mentally because it was so unfair to concede a goal with what we were doing, and after that, we just completely dominated the game again.
Do you have the sense that it was an unstoppable goal? I mean, think back to the Szoboszlai goal against Liverpool. I mean, it's a different kind of goal, but...
There is always things that we can do better from the beginning, the way we deliver the cross when we have an overload in the back post to a defending organization after. We made it a bit easy for them, but the speed, the execution, the quality that they have as well, you have to congratulate the opponent.
So you obviously changed a couple of players at half-time. Alongside that, what did you say to your team?
Let's continue to do a lot of the good things that we are doing, reset mentally, because the game is there for the taking. And if we will continue to do that and improve 2 things, especially that we had to do a bit better to give ourselves better chances and more momentum, we're going to score the goals, and we were very close to that.
What were those things, Mikel?
That stays in the dressing room.
Right, fair enough. You talked before the game, in fact, you've talked all season long about finishers, having guys who can come on and affect the match. Ezra's ball, Martinelli for the second time in a week. So is that a really pleasing thing from today? Those guys having the right mentality and obviously the quality to come on and affect the match.
Very pleasing. The ones that didn't play in Bilbao, like Willy, for example, and Leo, that they get the chance to play and they play at the level that they did. The ones they didn't, Gabi probably deserved to play, he didn't. And instead of moaning, he comes with an unbelievable energy to help the team to get a point. Epps the same. And every player is going to be doing that because we know how difficult and tough it's going to be, and we're going to need everybody at the best.
I know you said you're disappointed with the result at least. How big a point, though, might that be?
I don't know, but obviously you cannot win it. At least don't lose it, and we created an unbelievable moment to score the goal. But the overall feeling, because I know how hard it is to do what we've done on the pitch against Manchester City with that level, with that coach, I wanted more reward for the team.
Have you seen them like that? Like they were, particularly second half in a 5-4-1. Stones comes on, Ake comes on for Foden. It feels like, I don't remember seeing City really like that. I think they had 34% of the ball.
Well, I think every team tries to do their best to get the results, and that's it.
Just tell us a little bit, when you look back and you think back to the second half performance. I know it's easy for guys like me with hindsight, but do you look back and think, I wish the team that played or started the second half had started the first half?
As you said, you define it really well.
It is easy, but why? Okay, but why not? Because I mean, I don't understand your team and the game as well as you do. So why not? Why not start?
A lot of reasons to do that, but it's fine. We changed it. We made the players and the game that we wanted when that game was required. Before it was required a different game.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mikel.
Of the substitutions, and come back to that point that Pat asked Mikel Arteta about in just a second. But
of the 90 minutes and your team's performance?
We cannot make analysis without what happening this week. Like we play at Tough Games United and Champions League, and on Thursday now today, and a team like is so powerful in all the aspects. It just heads off to the team how they're resilient. Of course, it's so difficult where you're not effective in high pressing and you're not effective in the build-up. Always is so tough and so difficult to do it. We make some transitions. I think the result is fair. It's a little bit we're close in the 5-10 results, but I think in general Arsenal was better. And yeah, the team was there, and yeah, we had better result than last season. I would say we had better result than last season against United, so we take for that.
So, is the most pleasing thing for you the togetherness your team's shown today? That's something it feels like you've been looking for and looking at in the early weeks of the season.
Well, absolutely. I think since United, when the transfer windows finished, and everybody knows that we'll be here for a long time. Of course, it has been. The togetherness in the 3 games has been top. of course, in the way we play today, it's so demanding for them. They are so aggressive, and in the long balls, on balls, they are so really, really, really good, and they have everything. So we defend incredible well the corners, like they are masters, and yeah, we take that point. Of course, we have to improve, but after 5 games in the Premier League is where it is.
I think you said you weren't effective in your high pressing. Why was that?
They were better, and we were incredibly tired. So sometimes the people don't realize. So the game against Napoli, Champions League, was so emotional. And after that recovery day, and they ask you how to wait 4 or 5 hours, because maybe you don't know, you live in London, you have that privilege, but the people who live in the northeast, so we have 4 or 5 hours to arrive into London, and it's more fatigue and everything. So, and guys, it's a team like they fought last 2 Premier Leagues to win it, and arrived semi-final Champions League, and not just Man City invest money, they did it as well, and it's so tough. So I could not expect differently, but we were there. We talk about you have to be so strong in terms of mentality. We have done it.
So in the end, I know you said before the game, schedule's not an issue. In the end, the schedule was an issue for you today. It's fair question, no?
You are the journalist, my friend. You understand my process and what happened. Don't understand me. 10 years we are together, so.
Okay.
Honestly, so of course, the effective. The mindset has to be strong, but we have a lot, fatigue with the same players. We have, how many injuries. John came back for the injury for the national team for a long time. We have Cherky, we have Rainuri, we have Nathan had been out as well most of the time. So we have to put a lot of players. Maybe forget that the rhythm. Kusanov was injured in this kind of positions with the pace that he has. We don't have it. So many things can happen. But if you want to bring it, the fact that no one complaining for the schedule, that's okay. I'm complaining for the schedule. Are you satisfied?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Sorry, I thought you were going. Today, going to the 5 at the back, taking off Foden, taking off Haaland, are those decisions that you make because of the schedule, because your team's incredibly tired, or is that a sign of a different City? It does feel like it's a slightly different approach this season, playing more on the counter attack.
We'll try to don't be like this. But when the opponent is better and we defend deeper, if we have Erling or Tijani or other, we can use the counter-attack, yes. But our intention is not like this. After 10 years here, I think sometimes the opponent is good. Sometimes during 10 years when we won the leagues and other titles, always we make actions, the counter. You remember when it's Leroy and Raheem?
I do.
You remember how many counter-attacks we did that with Kevin? You remember? Yeah, with the quality. I would have preferred not to do it, but you cannot expect in this level to do it. So it's impossible. So that's why I'm take a point, and it depends on the game. You have to try to adjust players and do it as fast as possible.
Thank you.
Quite a bit to unpack there. He's saying essentially, Pep Guardiola, that the City players there's some level of fatigue from the game being played on Thursday night against Napoli in the Champions League. He's saying that there is also not necessarily complaining about the schedule. That's absolutely what he did not want to say. Yeah. But he's saying that may well be one of the factors. He's also talking about their approach in this game, which I thought was interesting, because although he's right in that they have counter-attacked beforehand, certainly with the players that he mentioned, this looked like a different kind of City, and it's been evolving in that direction.
Yeah, I think it was a different type of City, and the possession stats tell you that. When you come to the game today, for as good as Arsenal have been or started this season, you expect Man City to dominate the ball. In the second half, he changed that, went to a 5-4-1 and went for more a transition-based football, which we're not seeing, or not used to seeing with Man City. But I understand what it means in terms of Arsenal were the better team today. They dominated the ball. They just couldn't do what they needed to do in the final third. And he adapted. How many times have we been on Saturday and Sunday or Super Sunday and saying that managers need to adapt? That's not Pep's style of play. That's Mourinho style of play, isn't it? Or Allardyce style of play. But
everything comes back into fashion eventually.
No, but it can be effective. As we saw, it was just that one moment of not concentrating that got caught out. But in terms of the schedule, I mean, there's players on the bench that Man City could have played today. They've gone with the same team as they did, obviously because he was playing well. In the derby, they did really well. Against Napoli, it was a tiring game because they've sat really in the low block and Man City had to try and unpick that. And then today, Arsenal just had too much energy for him, so he adapted to the game that it was today.
The back five or defending deep was a success to a certain extent, except for the goal.
Oh, yeah.
Because Arsenal didn't create anything. But almost 90% of teams play like that when they'll play against an Arsenal away from home. But they had no counter-attack. I know the goal comes from the counter-attack in the first half, but there was nothing in the second half where they really created any. So there's no problem playing like that. But there was so much pressure on that back five or, Manchester City defensively because they never got a breather at all. I mean, probably, we were talking about it was strange bringing Erling Haaland off because he's the one who's got the goal first half. But Doku was fantastic and he wanted another midfield player on. Again, that's not Pep's way of doing things, but the thing that will disappoint when we were saying it in here, we've never seen a Man City so poor on the ball and causing the opposition problems, even on that counter-attack.
So is the focus then, if we're focusing on the wrong thing, if we're focusing on Manchester City defending deep, being in the low block, should we be focusing on that, what Jamie's saying is effectively sloppiness?
Yeah, we felt that, but I still think there's been signs City have obviously improved certainly over the last few weeks. And they had obviously a big result, beating United, then beating Napoli, but about fatigue and the challenges of trying to win league titles, but that is part of the challenge in playing football matches of players going the extra bit, which City have done over the years. So I'm surprised where Pep, if you're talking about fatigue and schedules, we're in September and they're on the back of 2 home matches, and the United game they were fairly comfortable beating United eventually. Napoli had a man sent off after 20 minutes. They've played 2 home matches. They've not travelled from Russia or Poland when you've had a tough away game.
Or the northeast.
Yeah, he actually lives in the northwest. Yeah. Pep forgot that for a second. Yeah, but they've come down to London.
All right, you two both say it in Spanish.
So I just think if Pep's getting that message out in September about the matches, but we all know the challenge has been of footballers being robust and playing 2 or 3 games a week. And we look at their players on the bench there, and the option. I'm sure there must be other managers in the Premiership looking at Pep thinking, Pep, if you think you've got problems with schedules and the strength in depth, my goodness. So I kind of didn't like that angle Pep was coming from. The whole point of sitting deeper and trying to play under counter, that is fine. I love seeing teams doing that. But the problem is City didn't have that get out. They didn't have that swagger that they had a number of years ago. And you mentioned players like De Bruyne. Of course, they haven't got that quality at this moment in time. But I still think City, both teams will come away with something. City did show a bit of fighting spirit. They dug at it. And another minute or 2, they would have got the job done. And then you give Arsenal credit because they stuck at it, they persevered, and they showed real quality. So we were lucky to see 2 brilliant goals, really. Brilliant goals, counter-attack and then the ball over the top. So I think both managers will be fairly pleased. But I'm not really having Pep talking about fatigue and the schedules. We're into September. Again, on the back of 2 home matches, and they've travelled down to London. Pep's a big boy. I'm sure they can deal with that.
We'll also be focusing on how much of the way that he set up was a response to what he saw as a threat from Arsenal. We'll be hearing from Mikel Arteta on that. But there's also a live